After months of intense back and forth, Sherry convinced her elderly mother to move into a luxury senior care community. She feels relieved knowing her mother will be safe and secure. Finally, the moving day arrives with much anticipation. Sherry helps her mom with all the packing as they move items into the van. Miss Hammersin takes a long pause near the entrance and stares out at the lawn. "Mom, you all right?" asks Sherry. She gets no response as Miss Hammersin waddles back into the house to gather more of her belongings. George rushes to Sherry to grab more boxes and notices his mother-in-law trudging slowly into the house. "She's having a hard time, isn't she?" he asks. Sherry shoots a look back at her mom and back at George. "Yeah, harder than I realized," she replies. With everything packed and loaded into the van, Miss Hammersin takes one final glance at her home and bids it farewell. She slides quietly into the car and lets out a small gasp. Tears begin to fall from her eyes as George turns on the vehicle. Sherry turned around and grasped her mom's hand. "I promise you'll be okay." They could sense the sadness as they drove away from the house. The drive to the prestigious senior community center was long but scenic. Ms. Hammersin's eyes would well up from time to time but then quickly turn to admiration for the scenery. The ride was mostly quiet, with the low humming sounds of the car making its way to the next destination. Sherry would occasionally glance at the side view mirror to check on her mom. She knew in her heart that this was for the best. Ms. Hammersin was having a difficult time living on her own. There were times when the stove would be on for too long and moments when she would forget to turn off the faucet. But recently, she experienced a fall that left Sherry with immense fear in her heart. There were talks of hiring a home care nurse to check in and monitor Ms. Hammersin, but that came with its share of issues. After months of researching, they finally stumbled upon Mountain Royalty, a luxury senior care community with all the amenities and care Sherry sought. After visiting the location and learning about the community, she got her mom approved as a new resident. The journey of convincing her mother was met with fierce opposition, but eventually, Ms. Hammersin caved in. When they finally arrive at Mountain Royalty, they are met with cheers and welcomes from the staff. Sherry glances at George as they watch the staff guide Ms. Hammersin into the facility. They follow behind and notice all the beautiful flowers leading up to the community lobby's entryway. One of the staff members notices and tells them, "Our members are the ones that grow and care for these flowers. Impressive, aren't they?" Sherry smiles and continues to admire the surrounding foliage. She nudges George and jokingly whispers, "Feels like unpaid labor to me." They both chuckle as the staff looks at them with confusion. Upon entering the lobby, they are immediately surprised by the grand displays of portraits and statues. Ms. Hammersin isn't impressed and continues going through the community areas. One of the staff members asks Sherry, "Is there anything we can do to make her stay here more comfortable?" Sherry shakes her head and replies, "I'm not sure. I think it'll be a bit of an adjustment for her." They nod in agreement as they watch Ms. Hammersin stroll down the hallway. But something stops her in her tracks. She walks over to a little petite Asian woman and taps her on the shoulder. "Excuse me, why are you staring at that wall?" The woman laughs, turns to Ms. Hammersin and says, "What's it to you, old lady? Maybe I see something and I'm trying to analyze it?" Floored by her response, Ms. Hammersin snaps back, "Excuse me? I'm not the only old lady standing here, you know." From afar, Sherry and George try to make out the body language between the two women. Sherry cocks her head and asks George, "Is it just me? Or does it look like they're arguing?" Suddenly, the women are flailing their arms at each other. Staff members rush over and move them away from each other. Sherry shouts at her mom, "What on earth are you doing?" Ms. Hammersin points at Zhang Yi, the other woman, and screams, "She started yelling at me first." Ms. Yi mumbles something in Mandarin. Sherry throws her arms over her head. "Can we just be adults for a few minutes, please?" Ms. Hammersin turns to Sherry and says, "Well, she owes me an apology." Ms. Yi quickly replies, "I most certainly do not owe you an apology, old nosy lady." They all gasp at the boldness of the statement. "Okay, that's enough from both of you," says Sherry, as she guides her mom down the opposite end of the hallway. In a completely different community area, Sherry turns to her mom and says, "Mom, I know this isn't what you wanted, but you have to work with us," she pleads. Ms. Hammersin shoots her daughter a long stare and nods. "Thank you," replies Sherry. They are escorted to the main house where Ms. Hammersin will reside. The house is grand and looks eerily similar to their old home. She turns to Sherry and points at the house. "Is that where I'm staying?" she asks. "Yes," replies Sherry. A now eager Ms. Hammersin scurries towards the house and enters with excitement. Sherry and George follow behind and can feel an energy shift. George leans in and tells Sherry, "I think someone likes their new home." They both smile and let out a sigh of relief. Ms. Hammersin is now settled into her new home and is quite happy. As she prepares to call it a night, she hears a faint knock on her door. She pauses to listen intently and hears a second knock. She wonders who could be knocking this late at night and makes her way to the front door. Slowly turning the doorknob, she begins to hear a strange giggle. Standing right outside her front door is Ms. Yi. "Hello?" she says as she starts to giggle. Staring blankly at Ms. Yi, Ms. Hammersin is too baffled to respond. "Well, are you going to let me inside?" she asked, but still no response. "Fine, I'll let myself in then," as she brushes past Ms. Hammersin, who is still too shocked to say anything. The two women are now standing in the hallway facing each other. "Why are you here?" asks Ms. Hammersin. "I wanted to welcome you to the neighborhood," she replies as she hands over a container. "That is homemade chicken bao. You can eat it now or put it in the freezer," says Ms. Yi. "Well, isn't that neighborly of you?" says Ms. Hammersin sarcastically. "Oh, don't be upset. My chicken bao will make up for my bad attitude today," says Ms. Yi, giggling. They head to the kitchen to put the dish away when Ms. Hammersin pauses and turns to Ms. Yi. "You're a very odd woman, do you know that?" They burst into laughter and continued to chat through the night. The following day, a groggy Ms. Hammersin finds her way to the kitchen and sees a container on the counter. "That's odd," she thought. "Didn't I put that in the fridge?" She grabs the container, but then she gets whiffs of a strange odor. She places the container back down and starts to remove the lid. And to her horror, inside the container is rotten food crawling with maggots. She shoves the container away and off the counter. "My God!" she screams. The container shatters to the floor. Suddenly, someone's voice comes on the security system and asks Ms. Hammersin if she is okay. "Ms. Hammersin, are you all right? We received an alert for potential glass shattering in the home. Can we send someone over to assist?" Confused and flustered, she responds, "What? Who are you? And where is your voice coming from?" she angrily inquires. "We're speaking through the kitchen intercom, Ms. Hammersin. This is Sarah from Mountain Royalties Risk and Assistance Management Team. Are you currently under any distress?" Ms. Hammersin ignores the questions and slowly peeks her head over the counter. "Ms. Hammersin, are you there?" She still doesn't respond. Her eyes are fixated on the broken glass, but no rotting food or maggots exist. "I'm here," she says, "but I don't need help, so go away. And how do I turn you off?" She walks around the kitchen looking for the speaker, but can't locate one. "I didn't sign up for this," she yells. Then, a quick knock on her door. "Hello, Ms. Hammersin. This is Judy, one of the staff members here at the community. We wanted to check in and see if you're doing all right." Annoyed by the check-in, she waltzed over to open the door. "Why are you here? I didn't ask for anyone to come. Please leave me alone and never stop by unless I call for you." Judy takes a few steps back and apologizes. "I'm truly sorry for bothering you. We just want to ensure you're okay and that no one is bothering you or making you feel unsafe." She looks blankly at Judy and asks, "Unsafe? And what makes you say something like that?" Judy nervously chuckles and replies, "Oh, it's nothing we overheard that you may have gotten into an argument with one of our other members, so I just wanted to check in." Ms. Hammersin squints her eyes as if suspicious of Judy's inquiry. "I'm fine. Goodbye." She slams the door shut and walks back to the kitchen. She sighs as she looks at the broken glass on the floor. "I must be going senile," she mumbles to herself. The landline phone rings and it's Sherry on the other line. "I'm fine. Why are you and the people here so high-strung?" says Ms. Hammersin. "Mom, we just want to make sure you're safe." She quickly hangs up and goes about her business, ignoring the rest of the calls. "Ridiculous," she proclaims. That evening, Ms. Hammersin decided she would get takeout for dinner and had a community driver take her to her favorite fast food joint. She tells the driver that she wants to eat alone and that he can return for her in 30 minutes. She walks into the establishment and orders her favorite combo. She takes her food tray and eagerly sits down to enjoy her meal until she hears a familiar giggle behind her. "I see you want to die sooner rather than later, huh?" says the person. She turns around and sees Ms. Yi. "Are you following me?" asks Ms. Hammersin. "No, stupid. I wanted a soft serve, so I came here to get it." In annoyance, Ms. Hammersin shakes her head. "Okay, well, leave me alone. I'd like to enjoy my combo in peace." Ms. Yi ignores her, swings over, and sits across from Ms. Hammersin. "What did I just say? I know you understand English." "Ah, English, shum English. Listen, I have an idea," says Ms. Yi. "Why did I agree to come here?" Ms. Hammersin lowly mumbles. "Friend, why don't you come to my house tomorrow, and I'll cook you a healthy meal," says Ms. Yi. Ms. Hammersin doesn't respond and proceeds to take a bite out of her burger. "Okay then, it's settled. I will see you tomorrow," shouts Ms. Yi. The next day arrives, and a curious Ms. Hammersin makes her way to Ms. Yi's home for a home-cooked meal. Upon arriving, she immediately notices the exterior home decor. It almost felt like she was in a foreign country. She rings the doorbell, and to her surprise, she is met at the door by a middle-aged Asian man. "I'm sorry, I must have the wrong house," she says. "Are you Ms. Hammersin?" he asks. "Yes, I am," she responds. "Okay then, we're expecting you. Please come in." He gestures for her to come inside. "I didn't know she lived with anyone else," says Mrs. Hammersin. He smiles and lightly acknowledges her statement. "Please have a seat. I'll let my mom know you're here." He gingerly walks off as a confused Ms. Hammersin gets back up and walks around the living room. "Oh, you're a strange one, little old lady. Now, where are your family photos?" she says as she canvasses the area. "Just you and the boy, huh?" as she picks up a picture frame. "There you are, friend," shouts Ms. Yi. Startled by her abrupt entrance, Ms. Hammersin fumbles with the photo and almost drops it. "Good God, you startled me," she screams. "Come, welcome to my home." Ms. Hammersin hands over a bottle of wine. "Oh, what is this? You really want to die, huh, friend?" says Ms. Yi. "What is it with you and the dying questions?" asks Ms. Hammersin. "I'm just joking because you eat terribly and drink alcohol," giggles Ms. Yi. "I'll take the wine back if you don't drink," says Ms. Hammersin. No, it's fine. We drink. Especially today, we will drink in celebration. Come, follow me." She follows Ms. Yi down the long hallway and into the dining area. "And what are we celebrating?" asks Ms. Hammersin. "We are celebrating my son's birthday," she shouts in excitement. "Please have a seat." She proceeds to pull out her chair as well, but stops. "Oh, forgive me. I forgot to put out extra silverware. I'll be right back." As she exits the dining area, there is a strange but dreadful feeling in the pit of Ms. Hammersin's stomach. Standing behind her with a knife in his hand is Ms. Yi's son. Ms. Hammersin quickly turns around, and before he can strike down, she screams and shoves him away. Ms. Yi returns to the dining room and sees a frantic Ms. Hammersin. "He's trying to kill me," she screams. She starts to rush towards the front door, only to realize it is bolted from the inside. "What is this?" She tries to unlock the door, but it doesn't budge. "Let me out of here," she screams. A giggling Ms. Yi yells down the hallway. "Don't be so dramatic." She slowly approaches Ms. Hammersin, who starts to scream for help. "Shh, no one can hear you," she says. Ms. Hammersin looks to her right, sees a vase, and immediately pushes it. The vase shatters on the hardwood floor. The two women look at each other blankly until Ms. Yi's son walks over and picks up a piece of the vase. Oh no, she triggered the shattering glass alert. He hands his mom the broken piece. She sighs as she looks at the broken part, but then she begins to laugh hysterically. Mother and son laugh together as a scared Ms. Hammersin ponders her next move. You see, my son here is a brilliant man. He made sure all the stupid wiring and technology in this house would never be triggered, she says. Today is his birthday, and I want him to have the best birthday gift ever. He pulls the knife out and starts to walk toward Ms. Hammersin. Clapping her hands slowly with joy, Ms. Yi begins to sing the happy birthday song to her son.
Please like and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click on the bell icon to get new video updates.